Hey guys, Naz here with another video. In this video I'll be giving my brutally honest review of Soul Hackers 2. Before we get into the review, I just want to state I have been a huge fan of Atlus since 2008, so this isn't just someone jumping on the latest RPG or a random person reviewing the game. I have been a fan ever since Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 1, and I had enjoyed my time from then to 2002 with all the games they have released. I had grown a strong connection and trusted that Atlus was my go-to publisher for the classic turn-based RPG games when every other publisher is trying to make the next big leap in action RPG games. Hopefully with my background set on Atlus, you'll have a better understanding of this review. With all that out the way, let's get into this, yeah? We'll cover the story first, since I'm sure that's what most of us play for. The story starts off with us thrown right into the main conflict, unlike most of Atlus's other titles. There was no sense of world building or build up like Shin Megami Tensei IV, which I believe to have one of the best prologues. As you progress through the story, it almost felt like there were two different writers and neither of them got together and sat down to make sure what they were writing flowed well together. There were many random things thrown out of nowhere with no foreshadow or breadcrumbs, so when it happened you were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. A lot of the story elements just felt shoehorned in to make a very incohesive story. It had me John Travolting multiple times. I did enjoy the side stories, however, where you had to go into the Soul Matrix. These are like the portals in Tokyo Mirage Session, where Tiki was located. As you progress through the main story, you unlock more and more side stories for each character, which dives a little deeper into their backstory. This, however, was met with a very long and boring, uninteractive maps, which segues nicely into our next topic, gameplay. The gameplay fell flat as a veteran to the series, and anyone who likes RPGs will find it bland and boring. There are 5 areas you go to do combat, and out of those 5, 2 of them are repeated because they're just reskinned. I had to put on something on my second monitor when playing this, otherwise I would have fell asleep with how bored I was. That's because the combat is very one-dimensional, with very little customization, unlike other Atlus titles. The main gimmick in this game is exploiting an enemy's weakness, which gives you a stack. At the end of your turn, you'll do a big area of effect attack, and the damage dealt is based on the number of stacks. As you get further into the game, the stacks can then be used to do a single target attack instead. That's it. There's no other use for the stacks, unlike Shin Megami Tensei V when you filled up the Magetsuhi gauge. Another key element in these games is being penalized when you fail to exploit a weakness by hitting a null, drain, or repel on the affinity use. Other Shin Megami Tensei games would have the player lose a turn or just end your turn altogether. In this game, you don't lose a stack or anything. Likewise for the enemies when they do the same. A simple fix to this was to reward the player by building properly, by giving them a stack to help finish the fight quicker, or punishing the enemy if they fail to do so and taking away a stack. But they didn't even do that. The combat fell flat and was a huge disappointment because I'm someone who cares about the gameplay, and the gameplay was bad on top of the story. Speaking of demons, you don't summon any in this game, and it's like Persona or Tokyo Mirage Sessions, where you equip them to get their affinities and skills. There's no point allocation when you level up, and each character has a predetermined stat line they scale off of, and affinities they prefer. So for anyone who likes to build the characters how you want to, that's out the window. But if you're someone who gets overwhelmed with all the choices, then maybe you'll enjoy the blueprint given to you. You can upgrade your weapons to do more damage or get some passive that'll reduce your gun or physical skills. In the Soul Matrix, every time you break down a door, you'll get a passive that'll make the game a little easier. Outside of that, there's no other form of customization. One thing I want to mention, I felt this game was balanced around the DLC. I have never seen prices this high in my compendium ever. This is after a 20% discount from side quests I've done. Look at this! Do you see these prices? This is insane! The DLC in this game lets you get money quicker, and since I didn't buy that, I had to painfully grind to make a decent team. Now I know there's been a lot of negatives, so let's go over some positives I enjoyed from this game, as I did beat it. You'll have to farm a lot of materials to upgrade your weapons, and they do have an enemy list of the locations to find them, as well as the items they drop in case you forgot. You can also mark the enemies so when one pops up, you know it's in that pack. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that, but the fights aren't random encounters, but these demon-shaped creatures that walk around and try to attack you, just like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. If you hit them, they'll be knocked down, and you'll have a higher chance to get a preemptive strike. Since you have no idea what the demons will be in the fight, this feature was very helpful. The load times are also non-existent, and the art style was really nice to look at. The overworld that you go to feels like it's an actual city with NPCs scattered around, and their dialogue is constantly changing as you get further into the game. Sadly, as a die-hard Atlas fan, I wish I hadn't played this game for the full price. This game felt unfinished, and I would have gladly waited a year for them to polish it up. If you plan on getting this, please get it on a sale, as this game gets a 5 out of 10, because there's nothing that'll have me remembering it in the next 5 to 10 years to come, but it's not also terribly bad besides 1 or 2 bugs I came across. Atlas sadly dropped the ball very hard on Soul Hackers 2, and it's clear for anyone who's played this and knows what they're capable of. Don't forget, if this video brought value to you, please leave a like and consider subscribing as I play a wide array of RPG games. Until the next video, I'll see ya.